From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
Well, good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce. This is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, To Your Good Health. We'll tell you what one Nevada leader is doing on Capitol Hill on a variety of health measures particularly important to Nevada. And he is my guest today, Nevada U.S. Congressman Joe Heck. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Marilee.
Well, we cover healthcare a lot here on Eye on Washington, but we especially love doing healthcare shows with Congressman and Dr. Joe Heck. It seems that background in medicine gives him some extra insight into the health issues the Congress is grappling with right now. And today on Eye on Washington, we've got a potpourri of things to cover. We'll look at my guest bill to cover veterans' better access to care. We'll talk about his supportive legislation aimed at addressing the opioid addiction crisis in this country, and we'll update you on his effort to help solve the severe doctor shortage in Nevada. While Congress has much to do to meet the many needs of our nation's veterans, there are two goals it considers most critical: improving access to health care at the VA and providing job opportunities for separated service members. So Congressman Heck, who's also Dr. Heck, who is also veteran Heck, is fighting hard for his bill to allow former medics and corpsmen to work as physician assistants in the VA. His Physician Assistant Employment and Education Act was just adopted by the House Committee on Veterans Affairs and now can be considered by the full House. The congressman partnered with New Hampshire U.S. Congresswoman Amy Custer on the legislation. It would establish a 5-year pilot program within the VA to provide assistance to former medics and corpsmen for education and training as physician's assistants. The educational assistance would be provided through the existing VA Health Professionals Education Assistance Program and other educational assistance programs of the VA. Those who serve in the pilot program would then have a period of obligated service at the Veteran Health Administration, allowing them to give back to fellow congressmen. Now, welcome back, first of all. And I read that the concept for this bill came from a local veteran who served as a physician assistant in the Air Force?
Yeah, so, it's very interesting in that the whole concept behind physician's assistants began back in the mid-1960s, where there was a perceived doctor shortage, and the idea was, how can we utilize individuals with some prior medical background to help fill that gap? And so the first 4 physician assistant students were actually Navy corpsmen that entered the initial program then at Duke University. Since then, the military has really utilized physician's assistants throughout its healthcare spectrum. And so we're saying, we have a lot of medics and corpsmen now returning from service after unfortunately being at war for 15 years that have incredible experience. We have a shortage of healthcare professionals within the VA system. Why not marry those two things together? Give those folks who have the experience, not just in providing healthcare, but in the military, the opportunity now to take their training to the next level, become a physician's assistant, and give back by taking care of their fellow brothers and sisters as veterans.
So what did that Las Vegas say to you that kind of got you so involved and went as far as to do a bill?
Sure. Well, he came in and said, look, we have this incredible experience, not just the training that we received as medic or corpsman, but the fact that we've been able to use our skills now on the battlefield for several years. We know that there's a shortage within the VA system. A lot of veterans are looking for jobs as they separate from service after coming back from doing their time in uniform. So here's a way for us as veterans to use the skills given to us by the military to take care of veterans. And so teaming up with Annie Custer out of New Hampshire, we looked at this opportunity to say, yes, there is a need within the VA. Here is a ready, willing, and capable pool of individuals that with just a little bit more training could be able to fill that void within the VA. And that's what it's all about. Sure. It's about giving access to health care to the veterans that have served this country, the health care that they've earned and that they deserve.
Compare how it's benefited the physician's assistants themselves to the many and as well with the veterans who are actually getting that care?
Sure. Well, there's this natural camaraderie, right? So when you have somebody who's worn the uniform, who's actually served, they have a better understanding from that firsthand experience about what that veteran may have gone through that they're now taking care of. So it's really a perfect marriage of people with incredible skills and capabilities, a willingness to keep on serving, an understanding of what veterans go through, now taking care of veterans.
What kind of skills do they have that they don't need to now? In other words, someone else might have to learn, whereas they would come in with it.
Sure. Well, they have a great understanding of how to interact with patients, how to complete a physical examination. You know, it's one thing to learn through books and in school how to actually touch somebody and complete a physical exam. It's another whole thing to actually lay hands on a live patient. And so these medic and corpsmen have gone through that process. They've used their skills.
You also already have the camaraderie with the veterans as well.
Sure, and they've used their skills under some of the most trying and stressful circumstances, you know, on the battlefield.
Sure.
And so they are battle tested. They are know well how to utilize their skills in very difficult situations. And so it brings, I think, an added level of capability in taking care of our veterans.
As a congressman, as a doctor, as a veteran, this bill has special meaning for you, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I mean, obviously, one of my primary goals here in Congress is to not just take care of our active duty military and their families, but to make sure that our veterans get the care, the benefits that they've earned and that they deserve from their service in uniform. And so, again, this is one of those opportunities where you take care of those who are separating from service, who have got great skills, to take care of those who have already separated and are seeking care in the Veterans Administration healthcare system.
What do you hear from the department itself? What's the VA saying about this bill?
Well, they're very supportive of the bill because right now about 25% of the physician's assistants positions within the Veterans Administration are unfilled. And so this is an opportunity to fill those slots with people that understand what it's like to have served in uniform, already come in with a great level of capability. It won't take much to get them trained up to the physician's assistant level and then put them to work taking care of veterans.
The bill should be a slam dunk, shouldn't? Is there any, who would oppose this?
Well, it passed out of the committee unanimously,
Sure.
So we're hoping to bring it to the floor soon.
Sounds good. And when we return, the congressman's effort to help end opioid abuse and addiction, that's just ahead.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada, Jim Marsh Automotive, the Rogich Communications Group, and by Champion Chevrolet Reno.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Hey, it's embarrassing to be tackled by someone smaller than me. I look weak and effeminate, so now I'm overcompensating.
I'd also be very ashamed by that. I'm not waiting until it happens to me to make you feel small.
My dad taught me to be the alpha male, so now I'm gonna knock a tray out of your hands at lunch.
Kids bully for all kinds of reasons. None of them are good. Know your kids' friends and monitor their social networking. Find more tips at flipthescriptnow.org.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
We're not a miracle drug. We're not a technology. We're not doctors. Just the hope, which can often be the best cure of all. The Ronald McDonald House, a home away from home for seriously ill children and their families.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington, our look at some top healthcare concerns in Nevada and what's being done on the Hill to meet them. My guest today is Nevada U.S. Congressman Joe Heck. The opioid endemic is destroying families and communities, and we must take action. That's what Congressman Heck told the press in May as he lauded a House passage of a series of bills aimed at combating the nationwide opioid abuse and addiction crisis. And he can speak with some authority. As we've told you, the congressman also is a doctor and has served as an emergency department physician. He says he's witnessed the devastating effects of opioid addiction and overdose, and he says he's fighting hard for the bills which aim to help prevent and treat opioid addiction, ensure the nation's drug straws are strengthened to stop the flow of illicit drugs into the United States, and protect infants exposed to illegal drugs before birth. Looks like the legislation couldn't be more needed. According to the American Society of Addiction Medication, drug overdose is the leading cause of accidental death in the U.S. In 2014, the country had 47,055 lethal overdoses. And Congressman, the Society says opioid addiction is driving this endemic. 18,893 overdose deaths related to prescription pain relievers, 10,574 overdose deaths related to heroin. And you've been a big advocate of bills addressing these growing crises for some time.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, drug overdoses are the leading cause of accidental death nationally, and Nevada is third worst in the country when it comes to that. In addition, over the 5-year period from 2010 to 2014, we saw the heroin overdose death rate increase by 270% in our state. So this is a critical issue, as you mentioned, that I've seen firsthand working in hospital emergency departments and working alongside our paramedics out on the street. And so the House has taken an approach to where we want to try to prevent, treat, and rehabilitate those that are afflicted by this epidemic. And to that end, there's been a series of bills that have been passed. First, in trying to prevent, we've increased penalties for drug trafficking, trying to decrease access to the precursor chemicals that are used to make drugs, and trying to increase educational awareness to try to stop people from getting addicted to begin with. The second phase then is to treat them for those that do fall prey to this very drastic epidemic that we're now facing. And so there's increased grant programs for treatment programs in order to get people the help that they need, not just those that are addicted personally, but there's a big issue with a problem called neonatal abstinence syndrome, where babies that are born to addicted moms then go through this withdrawal process that could be very harmful to them. And then lastly, we want to rehabilitate those after they've been treated. And so that's supporting things like drug courts, getting people into residential substance abuse and rehabilitation programs. And so the House approach has been holistic in trying to make sure that we address all three areas of trying to prevent, treat, and then rehabilitate those that have become addicted.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what is the success rate of programs like these?
Well, it depends on how well the person actually gets engaged with their own rehabilitation program. So that's why drug courts are important for somebody who may have committed a crime while under the influence of or due to a drug addiction, to give them an opportunity to be rehabilitated from their addiction rather than go to jail. Making sure that they're plugged into the appropriate rehabilitation program, like a residential group home. And those that go through the process actually have a low recidivism rate or relapse rate. However, we see, unfortunately, most people don't complete the process and they drop out prior to going through their entire rehabilitation.
You know, it's scary, those society figures that I mentioned, frightening. And we're talking at least 30,000 overdose deaths related to just prescription pain relievers and heroin. How serious is the problem in Nevada?
Well, I think Nevada has a problem that far exceeds what the national average is. As I mentioned, so we've seen that, again, just for that 5-year period from 2010 to 2014, our heroin overdose fatality rate increased by 270%. What happens is we see people become addicted to prescription painkillers, and then when they can no longer get their prescription, sometimes they move over to heroin because it's easier to obtain and in some cases cheaper. And so there's this problem of not just taking care of the illicit drug trade, the heroin drug trade, we have to address it in the prescription abuse problem as well.
How do we address doctors who might be, is there under the counter some payments? Is there, how are the people getting these?
Well, we've seen, especially up in Reno recently, there was a raid that was performed on what was considered a prescription mill, where people just go in, they pay a fee, and they get a prescription for drug, primarily prescription painkillers. But, you know, there are programs that we have within the state of Nevada that are put in place by the pharmacy board where physicians are supposed to go into a computerized system before they write a prescription for a narcotic to see whether or not that patient has been doctor shopping and moving from doctor to doctor to try to get a prescription refilled, or even the pharmacist is supposed to check before they fill the prescription to make sure that the patient isn't going from pharmacy to pharmacy. So there are safeguards in place as long as they're utilized.
What's the, if you know, what's the punishment for doctors or pharmacies that provide
well, there are criminal
abuses?
penalties. I mean,
Sure.
so in the case recently in Reno, criminal charges will be brought against those that were involved. And certainly there's a potential loss for licensure, both for the physician and for the pharmacist, if they were knowingly engaged in that type of activity through their respective boards of licensing.
And when we return, waiting months and months to see your doctor? The congressman has a bill he says would dramatically cut your wait time. We'll have the details next.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Oh, hey, bud. Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
With Gary and Todd?
Yeah?
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't. I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea.
Turn on the lights and everybody look up.
Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
I got a call during training camp. My son was born 5 weeks early with end-stage renal failure. We started dialysis at about 9 months. We hooked him up every single night, and then they said we need to get him a transplant. And my wife, amazingly, was a match. The second he had that transplant, he wanted to eat. Fast forward 5 years, he's in kindergarten, rides his bike, does all the normal stuff a 6-year-old does. I don't think there's anything more special than giving life.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington and our look at some top healthcare concerns in Nevada and what's being done on the Hill to meet them. My guest today has been Nevada U.S. Congressman Joe Heck. The congressman was called away to a committee hearing during our taping, but we're going to spend this segment talking about another bill that he supports. Well, I do hope that you don't mess up your knee anytime soon. These days it takes forever, and that's almost literally to see your orthopedic surgeon. In fact, according to a 2014 article in Vegas Inc., Nevada is severely short in both generalists and specialists. In fact, the state ranks 40th for OBGYNs, 46th lowest for family practice doctors and pediatricians, 50th for psychiatric physicians and registered nurses, 51st for those orthopedic surgeons you need for that bad knee, and Congressman Heck wants to shorten your wait time. He is the co-author of bipartisan legislation that would create a federal grant program for states to fund residency programs. His Creating Access to Residency Education, or CARE Act, would allow the grant program to either create new residency programs or increase slots in existing ones. And he says it's greatly needed. The Association of American Medical Colleges says 47.4% of physicians nationwide stay or return to practice where they completed their residency. And before we did this show, the congressman told Eye on Washington that he thought that by expanding residency programs or increasing positions in existing programs, we might go a long way toward addressing the care gaps for states like Nevada. And when we return, we're going to visit a previously aired mailbag that was to Congressman Heck, and we'll see what he had to tell one of you Nevadans.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
This girl is very pretty. It's inciting feelings of jealousy in me.
We should pick on her.
I'm insecure about some things, so I think we should put some me stuff on here. Maybe even some lies, too.
Yeah.
I just want to be accepted by you both. So I'm going to send this to my friends so they think I'm cool.
Kids bully for all kinds of reasons. None of them are good. Find ways to get involved at flipthescriptnow.org.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And we are back with the closing segment of today's Eye on Washington. It is our mailbag segment. It's when we read your letter, a letter you've sent to the mailbag page of our Joyce Communications website. We read it right on the air, and we ask our guests to respond to you right here. And Congressman, we have a letter to you today from Jasper T. He writes, Dear Congressman Heck, I've seen a lot about the Section 179 deduction for small businesses. How does that help them? What do you say to Jasper?
Yeah, Jasper, it's a great question because we just actually worked on that very provision. So the Section 179 deduction allows a business to expense or write off 100% of a certain amount of equipment or real estate or something that they need to help run their business. So it's a tax write-off for businesses. For many years, that was set at a certain level and was recently increased as part of the stimulus package. But it was only increased for a one-year period. So every year, businesses would be wondering if they wanted to buy something in July, whether or not they'd be able to write it off because the decision wasn't being made by the federal government until December. And so what we recently did was we made that increased Part 179 deduction permanent at the higher level. So now businesses have predictability, they have stability. And the thing is, every time a business goes out and buys a big ticket item, that helps increase the economy throughout the community, helps create more jobs. It's money being vested in our local area. So this is a win-win, not just for that business owner who gets the tax write-off and then gets to reinvest that money in another job or another employer, a pay raise, but also helps create more jobs throughout the community.
And they can better plan because now it's more
they'll know if they want to
know.
decide, they see a sale on a piece of equipment in July, they can buy it knowing that they'll get that tax write-off.
Okay. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. See you soon. And that is it for this week's Eye on Washington. I hope you'll join us next time as we discuss more important federal matters and their impact on Nevada. You can visit joycecommunications.com or go to our Facebook page for more news that impacts you in Nevada. And watch any shows you've missed on the YouTube page of our site. Thanks for joining us today on Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee Joyce here in Washington, D.C. I hope you have a great day today.